All right, hello, and welcome to this rare commentated game between the Salt Lake City Cougars and, of course, the Vancouver Mountaineers. Going to be witnessing a potential history right here. The Salt Lake City team has a chance to solidify themselves to make playoffs for the first time in franchise history. Yes, that's right, in 7 seasons. Salt Lake City is the only original team to have never made playoffs, not even once. So, here we are. Looking at the players, obviously, the comparisons between the QB, RB, and wide receiver. Heading over to the expert picks. Van with a 23% chance and split down the middle between all the experts, quote unquote. They're all going to be blowout games for the winner, except for Mike, who thinks it's going to be a close 8-point game. Interesting. It's also interesting to think that Vancouver could score 38 points, but I could be proven wrong. So we'll go ahead and head in there to this wonderful stadium. These wonderful, wonderful 2D fans. Salt Lake City, of course, looking to optimize their season's ending with a Vancouver win. All right. A Vancouver loss. I guess you could optimize your end of the season by losing to Vancouver and then running the tables, because what's going to happen, they play Pottsville next week. And so by playing Pottsville, that's a tough matchup. That's playoff game every week per the owner bar. And then, of course, you have to play Colorado Springs for your final game of the season, and they're not going to be an easy team to play unless they rest their starters. And my God, Spencer off to the races for a 73-yard touchdown. Oh, my God. Well, if you had one man to blame, it was the defensive tackle who had the greatest opportunity for the most explosive defensive play to start the game. And instead, you have a 73-yard rushing touchdown right off the bat. Wow. I mean, talk about beast mode for Vancouver. I don't know if we're going to keep up that mentality of gameplay, but we'll see. So now Salt Lake City gets a chance to respond. Maybe I was right in the beginning. Maybe they want the Vancouver win so they can run the table in the end. I don't know, but here we go. I just took the whole energy right out the balloon there for a slow start. As a fumble, a strip fumble, and right that's the ball. Oh my gosh, Vancouver, what are you doing? You're supposed to be tanking for the first overall pick. And instead, Vancouver's at the 11 in the red zone right now. I mean, they heard me trash talk. And that'll be intercepted, so never mind. Davenport, he realized what was happening here, so. They will not be going up 14-0. Oh, man, that was about to be... Oof. My God. That was about to be the scariest moment for Salt Lake City, going down 14-0 in the first 30 seconds of the game. But they get away from that, but they don't get away from the safety. Oh, my goodness. I'm not even going to pronounce that name. Ratatouille got the, the TFL. There's no way I can pronounce that name. That's not how, we've already started off with an absolute energizing moment, followed up by an interception in the end zone, followed by safety. Oh, man. I mean, I have no clue what's going on here, but all I know is Davenport is 0 for 1 with an interception, and they have a 1-for-1 touchdown ratio to attempts on the run game. So for some reason, we're going to throw it again. That's going to be a sack. If I'm Vancouver, I'd just run it. I don't know what we're doing here, but Maddox with the massive takedown of 11 yards. I mean, at this point, you're up by 9, and we'd probably just chill. So they do hand it off to Spencer. Spencer's explosive play, average of 73 yards a carry, is going to get knocked down a bit to now 40 yards a carry because he's averaging 80 yards on, his 2 attempts there. not even averaging. That's just what he has. Back to lob it, and off to the left is Richardson. 24-yard snatch there. Salt Lake City. This is not the place you want to be. I mean, I have ways of speaking things into existence. My personal life is a testament to that, but I didn't think I was going to be speaking into existence a Vancouver upset. But we still have a full game here. Dale on the defensive side, the quarterback of that defense, kind of setting the tone early. He's going to get a pass rush on number 60, but it won't be enough. I have no clue what was going on there. We're going to clip that and send that to the developer, Danny Jugan. Wide receiver could have just stayed there. Instead, he juts forward for some reason, and then the cornerback is also just, I don't know what's going on. That's a logic issue that's got to get fixed. And nothing will happen there, so this will be a punt. I don't think Vancouver has a strong enough leg. And Fontana with the punt, number 42. I mean, this was not the way I expected this game to start. I had a little segment kind of preambled set for myself to kind of get myself back into the commentary style of things. A rare moment opened up for me to be able to commentate on the weekend. So I took it. And all that planning right out the window. I mean, it doesn't matter anymore. So Salt Lake going deep. That'll be guided down. Thompson with the deflection. And a middle linebacker blitz. A very, very risky maneuver here. You're up 9. I don't know why you would do that, but we'll go with that. Wallace off to the races. Oh, nice visual look of a gang tackle, but it was only a single tackle. But visually, it looked like it could have been, you know, a two-man tackle, which we hope to see in future editions of Axis football. A step back to pass, launching it with a flag. Could be on the defense, batted down. It is Deron Butler. PI, so he gets the stop, but DPI just negates the stop. Salt Lake City gets life once more in a awkward game, to say the least, as Ballard now. Gain of 1. I don't really know what I'm looking at. You go, you know, if I have to be honest, I think you look at how Minnesota was probably the biggest upset, right? I mean, you go in the game, and we all know what the owner was saying, you know, it's not a shock if you expected to win, yada, 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 right? I mean, let's just be real. Nobody thought Salt Lake City was going to beat Minnesota. The owner can, of course, claim independence on that, right? I think every owner who has their team should think they go undefeated, should think they beat every opponent on their schedule. But, you know, you beat Minnesota, and then you come out, you know, Vancouver's 1-6. It's just not a good team. You know, they've got like 3 different quarterbacks in the room for some reason. You know, nothing they do is really elite. And then you wind up letting up a 73-yard touchdown. You get a forced fumble. You get lucky with an interception, but then you take a safety. But I think they've calmed down now. They only needed about 5 minutes into the quarter, which could have been a really scary maneuver there. Play action as a step, gets strip sacked, but Wallace, I mean, my God, the speed on Wallace. As London hits Wallace, and it'll go down as a TFL. As now Vancouver's stadium comes alive, hoping to keep this 9-point lead, and they almost did. And number 14 with the drop. That is brutal. I mean, he had a wide open touchdown there. So in comes Visconti, the former Minnesota Gorgon kicker. And that field goal is good. However, strong safety Beasley injured on special teams. That will not count, but that's going to let Salt Lake City score with ease now. Losing a safety is not easy. Of course, here comes Jones down the middle. Stiff-arming him now on his way out. We'll go ahead and take a look at that Vancouver secondary. So starting safety, Derek Beasley, 91 elite. I mean, one of the best in the league. Hands it off to Spencer, and he also won. Taking over, most likely, it's not going to be Adrian Oliver, 24-year-old. He's not really that particular of a talent. Rated at 75. Take the snap back to pass. Oh, strip sack, but Vancouver recovers. Spencer pulling a Wallace. 3rd and 18. This will probably be a punt here soon. Most likely it's going to be Kendrick Wilbur, the 27-year-old superstar. Just a hair slower. A little bit more smarter with the awareness, but the coverage is not anywhere near the talent you'd like. Derek Beasley graded out with a 92 zone coverage and a 92 man coverage, whereas Kendrick Wilbur, I mean, it's abysmal, 69 and 76. So these grades are not very good. I think if Vancouver were to invest any points into anyone, it would definitely be Kendrick Wilbur. They have DeQuan Thompson at free safety, 84, but he's graded out as a star versus Wilbur being a superstar. Now, they do have 1 year left in the contract, so offering the idea of giving a player more talent around contract year is probably not a good idea. If I were Vancouver, what I would do is I would let Wilbur finish out this season, give him a new contract, go in, upgrade the player, and then you go from there. That gives you a cheaper contract, obviously, and then you get to reap the rewards of a player on a lesser contract. Now, there's going to be some ownership that doesn't really like that, as Ballard picks up the easiest first down of his career. But here's the thing, right? It's difficult, right? You have to manage that. Do you really want to leave yourself kind of at a loss if you don't upgrade a player because you want to have a cheaper contract? And I know this is not really like some of the gameplay that you're looking at, right? But here's some of the insight into the league as an owner while we witness Salt Lake City still trailing in the second quarter. As a step, and a fullback, and Slosher is just maneuvering. My goodness, that was really good. But, you know, that's the ebbs and flows, right, of ownership. There's a lot of teams that think, like, hey, this is unfair. You know, you have the top-end teams who are waiting out contracts for these 85-plus overall. And, yeah, that's true, but, you know, oh, my goodness, traffic throw there. Gordon's going to be credited with the DP, but, I mean, I just think there was 2 open players there for the touchdown. The step just couldn't hit anybody there. So we'll calm down in the talks here as soon as it steps back to launch it. Behind the line of scrimmage, but they gain 8 yards. A risky maneuver. You got to throw it at the chains, especially when you were 0 for 3 on the day. So now he's 1 for 4. And Wallace is going to walk it nearly in. Stopped right before the end zone. And this is where Salt Lake City can kind of punch it in and take the lead. Vancouver with a single high safety for some reason in the end zone, and the guy doesn't even know where he's going. And that was, of course, Kendrick Wilbur in the back, the strong safety. Didn't even know where he was going. So you grade him as a higher aware player, but then he doesn't even know what he's doing. So there's that. The PAT is good. So now Vancouver trailing by 1. But that's the thing, right? That's how you handle these players. There's going to be a lot of players as we have this roster overturned throughout the seasons with a new potential contract system coming up where you've got players that, hey, like, I really like him, but I want to hold off on the contract. And you wait, and then you want to upgrade them. You really want to upgrade them, and you have to weigh that possibility that you wind up not getting your chance at a championship game because you want to save money. So it's the ebbs and flows of ownership, as Spencer with a gain of 1. You look over here at Salt Lake City, and I say that as if as if anybody can see what I'm looking at, but that's clearly not the case. As Davenport back to pass, going to launch it left, and that's going to be dropped nearly a pick 6 by Palmer. However, Robinson, the strong safety, number 0, Shakir, going to be out with a knee injury. That is not good. That's basically his season there. Knee injuries are brutal as Davenport can't get it to the player. Parker defending pass there to a punt. Knee injuries, they're not good at all. And he's got a 79 fitness grade. This guy's out for the season. That's a wrap for Robinson. He's one of the better players in the league. And, of course, he's got 2 years left on his contract. So next season he'll have to come back and Salt Lake City's going to have to hope that he really pushes forward. But that's going to be a major blow to Salt Lake City's playoff hopes. A knee injury that's potentially season-ending entirely. Not even that it's going to be 7 weeks maybe. It's potentially season-ending. As Culpepper getting the TFL now, 2nd and 13. So in to replace Shakir Robinson. The step is back to pass. Wide open is Washington. You got 2 DBs, and one of them's trying to do a back diving. What are you doing, my guy? You got 2 defenders. Someone turn around and get in front. I guess behind. Either way, a step pitching onto Wallace, and Wallace with about an 8-yard gain, and I was right on that one. He's 2nd and 2. We're probably going to be looking at Demarion Edwards. I apologize. No, that is wrong. We're going to be looking at number 35, Tyrone Stapleton, taking over. A pretty highly regarded star in the league as Wallace gains a first down and a gain of 7. The good news is Salt Lake City has a pretty decently stacked secondary, so they'll be able to flush with talent here. It's going to be dependent on how he wants to maneuver this. The step is back to pass, launching it out of bounds is Ballard. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is there's an interesting thing going on here. Sean Douglas, 23-year-old, 1 years of experience, is elite. And yet they're playing Cody a step. As the step is back to pass, launching it, and that's incomplete. Now, I'm not sure what the reason for that is for. Clearly there's a better talent. I'm assuming Salt Lake City doesn't want to waste the talent, such as what a step is currently going through. As he's going to launch that to the end zone, and Washington with the touchdown there on a routine fly concept. So going to put him up 17-9, barring a Visconti missed field goal. Emmanuel Washington, the rookie out of Eastern Michigan. One of the elite talents from the draft that fell to Salt Lake City. I say fell, but I mean, in all reality, let's just be perfectly clear about this. It was the 9th pick. I don't really know if that's falling. It's not too many teams that really want to take a wide receiver that early. Then again, the Tennessee Titans took Carnell Tate at 4, so which I think is one of the dumbest moves you could have done with all the talent there. But I mean, Robert Saleh and I can't even remember the head coach from the New York Giants, Brian Daboll. They think that he's a number 4 overall talent, so sure. Davenport fakes the handoff, going to launch it deep left, and again, that'll be swatted away. And I think Vancouver has a out-breaking route problem. They like to throw it to the numbers too much. And he is now 1 of 8 for 24 yards. I mean, yeah, at this point, just run it, right? Like, there's a point where you have to look at your team and you got to realize, is it the wide receivers or is it my quarterback? And when you look at Vancouver and you look at the wide receiver talent, it's just not too great. As Bowman with a 13-yard catch. Jamir Bowman, 31-year-old. I believe he was formerly with the Portland Grizzlies. Who is the Grizzlies? The Grizzlies. And Davenport, oh my God, Jesus, he is fast. I forgot he's got 90 speed. Broke out of a would-be sack. That was the fastest 4 yards I've ever seen. On 2nd and 6, back to pass, going to lob that one. That'll be smacked down. A lot of talent here in the wide receiver room, but unfortunately it's a little bit past its prime. You've got Richardson and Mack with the best hands in the room, and then after that it's just a fall-off. Not a lot of speed here either, as Davenport's launching it over the middle with Richardson, but not enough for a 3-yard gain. So it'll be a 4th and 4, and if I was Vancouver, I'd just go for it, but you've let up 17 straight points, so what do I know? That's going to be downed inside the 20 at the 16. That's a generous distance for Vancouver to down it at. My God, I thought it was up by the 19. So a step now will come in and launch that bad boy into double coverage. But you look at the talent, I mean, it's rough. I think Vancouver is probably the worst possible situation you could have as a team. you've got Brandon Gilligan on your practice squad, who you're paying $9 million basically to. You've got Quentin Davenport, the 3-year veteran, who's elite, but he's got no talent around him. And Washington off on the left side, taken down on 3rd and 4 for a 53-yard gain. Salt Lake City. Almost went for it all. Yeah, you just got a problem here. You got TJ Salamone, 2-year rookie. Well, I mean, is he really a rookie? Had a 500-yard passing game. And then Quentin Davenport was picked up in the supplemental draft. And, yeah, that was the end of that. So, Reno, yeah. Reno was not too thrilled about getting folded, but what can you do here? I mean, you've got 5 quarterbacks on this team right now. That is ridiculous. And it's not 5 quarterbacks that can play. It's 2 quarterbacks that can play, 2 backups that are both in their 4th year, in Tyler Ridge and Jeremiah Stewart. And then you've got the worst possible fleecing trade I've ever seen in my life with Brandon Gilligan just eating money, because I'm not even going to go into that, but we all know that was just one of the worst trades you could possibly imagine. Absolutely no reason for that trade to occur. But the defenders will defend it. Davenport back to pass, and he is sacked immediately. And Maddox now picking up his 3rd sack of the day. Keontae Maddox, I mean, what more can you say besides that he is one of the best defensive talents in the league? And he does all that, by the way, as a defensive tackle. Now, he is 31, so he's kind of on, like, the tail end of his career. In the NAGA, Spencer off to the races again. Oh, he almost had it again. Van will call a timeout. He had one more broken tackle away from another huge gain. So Davenport will off this Bowman, and they're just going to have to kick a field goal here as they call a crucial timeout. And Schmidt, I mean, your job is on the line here, Schmidt. You're getting replaced next year if you can't make this. Ooh, he blinks it in. I don't know how he made that. I think we need to see a replay. I don't know how he made that. Hold on. All right, let's get this free camera going. Yeah. Let's see. Oh my gosh, this okay, these controls are not intuitive. Whoa. It just barely makes it. I mean, my God. He kicked it so hard, it literally froze. I mean, look at that. Look at how perfect that kick was. It doinked and it just froze. All right, he made it. Fair enough. I mean, Schmidt, wow. Talk about a nail biter. Now we go to the second half. So, yeah, this whole game has been very interesting, to say the least. But for some reason, I'm highlighted over Keontae Maddox. There we go. $6.8 million, wholly underpay. But then you remember he's about to be 32, so he's about to drop to superstar status. I believe, unless I'm totally wrong. But to be completely honest, we at NAGA cycle through so many players so quickly. It's kind of hard to remember when you have a drop-off of development talents, but we're looking to push forward a more natural league. This many elites, just not really natural, in my honest God opinion. I mean, you know, when you look at, all right, the Bengals, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, that's the most elite talent you have on that team. And they're scoring 50 points, by the way, like a game. Right? Like they're just, what in the world? Deflected down. Last second safety, PI against Justin Langford. So he was wide open with OPI. That'll be 4th and 7. But, you know, you look at the talent around here, right? Like, you go to Vancouver. Well, you know what? That's a horrible example, as Jones took the term. We'll go to Salt Lake City. Sean Douglas, an elite quarterback. Scooter Wallace, an elite running back. Justin Langford, Emmanuel Washington, elite talent. Now, Washington was a rookie, so that can be excused. Then you go to Keontae Maddox, the elite defensive tackle. And then you go to the elite cornerback, Jeremy Bray. And then you go to the elite strong safety, Shakur Robinson, sorry. Then you go into Travon Davenport, who I believe is injured, elite talent. And that's not even getting into the bigger teams, like Minnesota, San Antonio, Virginia Beach, Tucson. It's just, we have a lot of elite talent here, so we don't really deal with losing out on development traits because there's so much young superstar talent that you don't need to worry about that, which is just Davenport. I mean, you saw it, you looked at him, and you took an 8-yard loss anyway. That is crazy. But you look at it and you just think, like, man, you know, that's too much elite talent. The league doesn't deal with enough atrophy. We have so much moving parts. We never have, you know, enough players to really sit on the roster long term, really go through a normal career arc. Most players are dumped out at around 30 as Richardson, 2nd and 2. And I apologize. I was over here combing through some records, and it looks like Vancouver got the first down, so I apologize about that. However, you have to realize this whole game has been whacked. So Spencer now charging forward, gain of 7. It's now in the red zone. The NAG is in a curious spot. And of course, as you can see, this is a more curious game. In the red zone, Davenport. Last time they were in here, they scored a field goal. Going to bullet that to Poteet. Gain of 4. And a face mask. So now they're at the 7-yard line. Wow. Now the real question is, when Vancouver scores, do they go for 2? I don't think they will, but it would be very interesting. Hands off to Poteet again. Gain of 1. So there had to be an injury here, because what is going on? Why is Poteet over Spencer? We'll find out here soon. As Spencer comes in. So there was no injury. I'm just stupid. And Davenport takes a 6-yard loss. So it's now back at the 12. Keontae Maddox. There is a weird thing that Axis Football does where they will just let your running back 2 play like 4 or 5 straight snaps, despite your RB1 totally having all the stamina. And that will be a field goal now for Vancouver. Schmidt from the left hash. Can't be any easier after that narrowly made field goal earlier in the day. Field goal is good, down only by 5 now. Which that safety is helping them, because instead of being down by 7, they're now down by 5. So this could wind up helping them in the long run. Axis Football does have a unique situation, though, where your running back 2 will legitimately play about 4 to 5, maybe even 6 snaps. And your running back 1 is just on the sideline for no reason. You could have like a 95 fitness rated running back, and he's on the sideline. So his step's going to motion number 1. Wallace out to the far right. It's going to be back to pass. Massive blitz coming. Everybody's picked up, but they only get a single yard. One of the wide receivers leaked out in the backfield, but a step is just not there fully as a player to really take full advantage of that. Back to pass. Normal rush. Man in his face. It doesn't matter. The tight end, Rico Bono. Massive gain there, 25-yard gain. And a step now. 3 men in the back with him. I mean, my God. Wallace shaking off the 3-yard gain. I mean, could you ask anything more from Levon Culpepper to just stop that play cold? As a step under center, Wallace in the back going to fake the handoff, and he's going to pretend to block. And Langford with the touchdown. Absolutely owning that defensive back in Vancouver. Justin Langford, 4 for 8, averaging 10 yards a catch, and now notches a touchdown under his belt. Salt Lake City extends the lead now. As we head over to Vancouver's offense, we're going to take a look at some of the things that Vancouver could potentially look to do. They will shock me, of course, here now, and they will go on a scoring drive that will make me look dumb. Out of all the teams, he's going to hand it off. No, he's going to fake it. RPO to Bowman, who just, there's got to be better football logic. I am getting really sick and tired of watching 80-plus aware players just constantly run out the end zone, and they don't, like, stand there. You know, like, they won't just stop, grab the ball. They will just keep going. So, that's a bit annoying. 3rd and 7, so we're potentially about to hand this back over. But before we do, we will head to the fourth quarter, where Salt Lake City is up by 12. 4 field goals, or 2 touchdowns, and 2 failed two-point conversions. Hand off to Spencer, off to the left. Oh, fumbles, but McAdams, the center, picks it up. Gain of 3 yards, but does Vancouver go for it on 4th and 3 on their own territory? They do not. Fontana will kick it away. So Vancouver has an interesting situation. They are 21st in quarterbacks. They are 20th in the running back room, 20th in the wide receiver room, 19th in the linebacker room, and 21st in the special teams room. That is horrible. They're in need of a middle linebacker, running back, defensive tackle, tight end, and right tackle. So that tells you everything you need to know. As Wallace off to the left, taken down. Only a gain of 3. And Vancouver, I mean, you look at it as he hands off to Wallace, and Wallace charged, but my goodness, met in the lane. 3rd and 3 after a gain of 4. So now it's 3rd down. Salt Lake City needs to pick this up, chunk off 2 more minutes. They don't. No gain. 4th and 2. Ballard now subbing in. Salt Lake City could do the funniest thing here. And they choose not to because they want to win. And there's a false start by the tight end, Mario Riccobono. So now what was a potentially coffin punt. Looking at a potential 15-yard gain maybe on the return now. Yeah, that was definitely going to be a coffin punt. Jones makes me look like a fool. How about that? So from the 35 to the 25. We'll watch this drive unfold. Corner blitz off the left side, launching it, and Richardson, what a catch that was beyond the 50. Spinning catch in double coverage. I mean, where was that all game? Davenport fakes the handoff. Nobody was fooled. Throws it into like quadruple, maybe quintuple coverage as Boyd with the credit there. I mean, you just credit everybody with a .25? Everybody got a point of that. Go! It's Davenport now off to the left, 3rd and 4. And now they will bring this clock even further down. Davenport fakes the handoff. Oh, he just could not thread it enough. Bats now with the DP. And Fontana now with the punt from the 49. Go. And absolutely shanked it. My goodness. They took 6 whole seconds off the clock. That is, I mean, if you're looking to save time, that was a phenomenal punt. If you're looking to stop Salt Lake City, that was a terrible punt. Wallace can't shake off the second man. Pierce, TFL, lost it 2. So outside of a lucky touchdown and an even luckier safety, that really should have been 7 points, but Quentin Davenport can't play quarterback for some reason in Vancouver. Vancouver has really only scored 6 points off of 2 field goals. So to say that Salt Lake City, that's Wallace, just easy first down there. To say that Salt Lake City, did I say St. Louis? Salt Lake City has this game in the bag is a bit of an understatement. So Cody is step under center, and he's going to just hand that bad boy off on a draw play, and Wallace 13-yard gain. And this is where the clock draining is so lovely when you are in a game where you want to get out of here, you want to limit injuries. Salt Lake City's already dealt with a massive blow to the secondary with Shakur as Culpepper now with the TFL. If I'm Salt Lake City, I'd just keep running. I mean, who cares? They're down by 12. Never mind. A step's just going to launch that into whatever that was. There was a guy doing a circle on their team. Look, he's frozen right now. I think that was that was Langford who caught it. So Cody a step, 12 of 20, 2 touchdowns, 181 yards. He is by all means having the most average game you could have. And Fitzgerald, I mean, Vancouver now calling a timeout. And at this point, it's over. So we'll go ahead and see if this drive cashes in. If not, well, that'll be the end of this. As Wallace with the handoff. I don't even know how he got caught up in that tackle, but he gets suctioned up, falls in. Only a gain of 3. Wallace now eclipses the 100 mark. He touches the century mark today after 20 rushes. And Wallace to the left side, and he's going to patent those stats now, 218 yards. So Vancouver calls their final timeout. And, man, they would have, if Vancouver could have been 27-20 right now, this game would have been so much different. But that'll be the end of that. Let's take a couple knees here. We've had a couple topics discussed, a couple of them not wrapped up. But, hey, that's what happens when you get this wild of a game. It starts off with a 73-yard touchdown, a forced fumble, an interception on the very next play, and then a safety. The first 4 plays of this game had to be the most wild plays that if you had put a parlay on, you would have gotten probably $30,000. So to say this game was anything but ordinary is an understatement. And that will be the end of this as a step nails this to the board of a win. Vancouver thanks the gods of football that Wisconsin, please kick it. Oh, this would be so funny. Please kick it. All right. And there we go. That is the end of this game. Vancouver getting closer to that #1 overall pick. Salt Lake City clinching and clutching the first ever playoff berth in the history of their franchise. 5 sacks, 1 turnover, 188 passing, and 155 rushing. I mean, absolutely. And rushing plays, I mean, you get 159 yards on 11 rushes. Maybe Vancouver should switch to a run team, but that would be winning, and we don't want to do that if you want the #1 overall pick. Not that we want anyone to tank, but I'm just saying. Look at some of the stats here. Maddox with a 4-sack game. This is going to be one of the better defensive players in NAGA history. Joey Visconti, perfect on the day. We head over to the loser side of the game. 48% completion for Davenport. I mean, look at this. Just incredible running by Spencer, and nobody gave him the time of day. Now, of course, 73 yards of rushing, as we go back there, is half of his rushing yards. but hear me out. All right, 9 for 60-plus yards is still really good. A lot of teams would love that. So Spencer looking like a potential future, but you never know. It could also have been the Salt Lake City defense. So as far as forced fumbles, though, Gerald Prince, Corey Pierce, and, of course, the lone interception was not on Vancouver because I'm stupid. But Spencer, McAdams, and Whitehead all for recovery. And, of course, you got 2 field goals, 1 extra point. And that is that. Kobe Estep living comfortably in the 62% completion range. Look at the depth chart. See who's all injured here. Shakur Robinson out potentially for the season. That is a big blow to Salt Lake City. And for Vancouver, Derek Beasley injured on a special teams play. Leg injury does not count. Well, that'll be it. We'll see you all at the next game, and hope you guys enjoyed this content, and especially the craziest opening to this game ever. We'll see you all next time.